Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. How's Eddie Frederick?
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Friday 23rd August 2024 and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. UWI launches International School for Developmental Justice. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. The University of the West Indies has embarked on a One UWI Intercampus initiative focused on reducing inequality and poverty, climate action and access to quality education. The International School for Development Justice, ISDJ, is tipped to be the world's first global business graduate school focused on leadership within the context of supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Jason John of TTT News has more.
The University of the West Indies is supported by the development capacity of the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, in launching the world's first global business school. Speaking at the launch of the UWI's International School for Development Justice at Cave Hill, Barbados, Minister of Education Dr. Nian Gatsby-Dully said, "Being able to live and study in the Caribbean in our own region-grown institution promotes nationalism and regionalism."
To see the UWI moving purposefully into the global online education market is a proud experience, as it places us, the Caribbean, into a space dominated by non-Caribbean players. It is bold, frontal action, which signals our intention to sit at all tables in all sectors.
Vice-Chancellor at the University of the West Indies, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, said, "The Caribbean became the center of globalization as it served as the economic and political stage where Africa, Europe, and the Americas converged."
To go into the global space with our experience, with our development knowledge, with our very fascinating conception of the world as it is today and what we want to see in the future, to be here is to be special. The ISDJ, therefore, is the university's strategic response to our history and to our future.
According to the lead investment officer of the IDB, Elizabeth Rubberich, by focusing on the principles of equality, justice, and sustainability, the ISDJ will do more than simply educate, but will inspire a new generation of leaders dedicated to addressing the global challenges.
The impact of ISDJ will be profound and far-reaching. It will not only influence the Caribbean and Latin American regions, but will also serve as a model for global education in sustainable development.
The University of the West Indies, through their global campus, previously known as their Open Campus, is supported by over 2 decades of experience in online education. Jason John, TTT News.
The government of Antigua and Barbuda is to spend millions of dollars immediately to boost resources for the security forces. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Gaston Brown during a national address on Tuesday evening. Parliament is also to enact laws to tighten bail conditions for gun crimes, and the judiciary is to be urged to impose tougher sentences on violence producers. Garfield Burford of ABS News reports.
Let me reassure our citizens and residents that gangs and those involved in gun violence will not be allowed to hold our people hostage. We'll fight them, and we'll fight them fire with fire, steel with steel until they are defeated.
A resolute Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Brown reassuring residents while warning criminals of a muscular response from the state to their violent actions. He outlined several steps his administration is taking to get even tougher on crime. One of those measures is on the legislative front.
We will, at the next sitting of our Parliament, enact increased penalties and tighten the conditions of bail to keep these criminal elements off of our streets. However, the judiciary in the sub-region should consider realigning the sentencing guidelines and conditions of bail for gun crimes, in keeping with the current realities of crime and violence, which is now a public health epidemic in the Caribbean.
Prime Minister Brown says he has instructed his Attorney General, Honorable Sir Stedroy Benjamin, to hold talks with the Acting Chief Justice, Mario Michel, on this issue. The Prime Minister explains why this is such a pressing matter.
There are currently 474 repeat offenders who are roaming our streets with impunity. A significant number of them are on bail, armed and dangerous, pursuing a full-time career of crime and violence at the expense of our people.
While nudging the judiciary to be tougher on offenders, the Prime Minister says more resources are being provided to the security forces to boost their crime-fighting efforts. It follows a meeting of the National Security Council, which he chaired on Monday.
Several $1 million will be made available immediately to acquire additional assets, including 2 vessels to improve maritime surveillance of our porous maritime borders, that is proliferated with bays and quays, facilitating the smuggling of contraband, including arms and ammunitions. We will be acquiring 10 additional surveillance drones to enhance law enforcement crime-fighting capabilities, and we'll be installing additional cameras on our streets with superior technology to improve surveillance.
More vehicles are also being acquired to ensure rapid response to incidents of crime. The police force has also established a guns and gangs suppression unit to target gang members. Meanwhile, there is also action to tackle juvenile delinquency.
We will be introducing anti-gang and juvenile curfew legislation to curb criminal behaviors involving juveniles and to protect our minors from predators. Our gangs suppression strategy will also include counseling and anti-gang public education and awareness in our schools.
The Prime Minister also says immigrants who commit crimes will be immediately deported upon conviction and the service of their time in prison and will never be allowed to return to the country's shores. The Prime Minister also urges nationals and immigrants to avoid a life of crime and to instead take advantage of opportunities to earn an honest living. Garfield Burford, ABS News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Killian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Only 34% of students around the region who sat the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC examinations in May and June this year attained passing grades in mathematics. This is the lowest pass rate the Caribbean Examinations Council has seen since 2021 and is a 7% drop from last year's pass rate. ABS's Ragib Aparicio provides details.
The Caribbean Examinations Council, or CXC, has expressed its concern regarding poor performances regionally in CSEC level mathematics. Just over a third of the 80,000 students who sat CSEC mathematics in the May-June examination cycle were able to meet the requirements to pass. Grade 1 passes for the examination, however, have increased slightly to 9%, the highest in the last 4 years. CXC Director of Operations Nicole Manning provides further insight.
Even though it looks slight, remember the population is almost 80,000, right? We are seeing that improvement there. So in some cases, you're going to find that in some territories, you will find an improvement, of course, and in some territories, it would not have been looking so wonderful. However, overall, we need to get out of this rut.
Manning explains, CXC is already in the process of devising new solutions to be rolled out across the Caribbean. The mathematics figures point to another worrying trend. CXC Registrar and CEO Dr. Wayne Wesley says roughly 11,500 candidates do not fully matriculate into university due to not passing both mathematics and English.
You will have students who will not realize their full potential. And most importantly, it is having a negative effect on the economic competitiveness of the region because you're having less students being able to drive the innovation that is required for the economy to advance and for critical thinking and problem-solving attitudes to be developed.
English A also saw a slight dip. 76% of candidates were successful, compared to 78% in 2023. Dr. Wesley provides more details on CXC's planned interventions in literacy and numeracy.
And those standards will be used with the incorporation of artificial intelligence for us to be able to design targeted intervention for the areas and opportunities for development for these candidates.
The program, he adds, will work in tandem with regional education systems. Rakib Aparisi reporting for ABS News.
Back to Port of Spain, where Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has defended his intention to replace Christopher Columbus's 3 ships on Trinidad and Tobago's national coat of arms with a national instrument, the steel pan. TTT News has more.
We made it a national instrument by law, and we decided as part of that process, those 3 misleading ships, those 3 icons of colonialism, of barbarism, of rape and oppression, they will be removed from the emblem and be replaced by this, the newly born national instrument.
Dr. Rowley said this change was the next logical step after having ensured that the steel pan is this country's intellectual property.
I don't know what could be divisive when the title of the thing is National Instrument. Who in this nation does not want to be identified with the national instrument? Please stand up and walk out. You're free to do so. It's a free country, but I don't see anybody wanting to do that.
He noted that the steel pan is the only instrument that is indigenous to Trinidad and Tobago.
I see a nation wanted to take hold of this legacy bequeathed by those on inner Port of Spain that spread across the entire nation and across the entire world. That's what I see.
Prime Minister Rowley called on citizens to demonstrate their patriotism by embracing this country's only national instrument. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
The security forces of St. Kitts and Nevis committed to suppressing all forms of lawlessness in the Federation. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports.
As part of this ongoing effort, coordinated operation was conducted in the Macknight area on July 25th. The operation saw the participation of the tactical units of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force, and the St. Kitts Nevis Customs and Excise K9 Unit. 6 search warrants were executed on the premises in Macknight. While nothing of interest was found during these searches, a comprehensive walkthrough was conducted in the area, police said. This included searches of 17 abandoned premises in the vicinity of the targeted premises. The operation took place between 4:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force said it remains vigilant and dedicated to ensuring the safety and security of our communities. This increased police operation comes after the announcement of Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Terence Drew, on an increased crackdown on gangs in St. Kitts and Nevis. This is in reply to the increase of gun crimes and homicides in the Federation in recent times. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, It's so clear to see peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.